تستمعون.
The Assembly will hear an address by His Excellency Moon Jae-in, President of the Republic of Korea. I request protocol to escort His Excellency. On behalf of the General Assembly, I have the honor to welcome to the United Nations His Excellency Moon Jae-in and to invite him to address the Assembly.
لك الكلمة سيدي.
Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, and distinguished delegates, I'd like to express my deepest condolences on the passing of Kofi Annan, the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations. The world will forever remember his name that has been etched in the road to peace. I'd like to congratulate Ms. Maria Espinosa on assuming the presidency of the General Assembly. I hope the United Nations will be able to reach out to every corner of the globe through the 73rd session of the General Assembly. I also hope that the United Nations will make further progress in contributing to the international community under Secretary General Antonio Guterres' excellent leadership. As I had done last year, I stand here once again with a sense of urgency and excitement. Over the past year, something miraculous has taken place on the Korean Peninsula. For the first time in history, the leader of North Korea crossed the military demarcation line to visit Panmunjom. A historic summit between the United States and North Korea was held on the Sentosa Island in Singapore. Chairman Kim Jong-un and I removed the shadow of war and resolved to usher in an era of peace and prosperity. At the U.S.-North Korea summit, the two sides agreed to work towards achieving complete denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula and ending hostile relations and establishing a permanent peace regime. President Trump and Chairman Kim moved and gave hope to those who desire peace all around the world. North Korea dismantled its nuclear test site in Punggye-ri under the observation of the international community. The United States and the Republic of Korea suspended large-scale joint military exercises and built trust. I'd like to thank and salute President Trump and Chairman Kim's courage and resolve as they usher in a new era on the Korean Peninsula as well as in U.S.-North Korea relations. Last week in Pyongyang, I met Chairman Kim for the third time and reached an agreement once again to turn the Korean Peninsula into a land of peace, free from nuclear weapons and threats. Chairman Kim expressed his hope of completing denuclearization as soon as possible to focus on economic development. Moreover, Chairman Kim expressed his commitment to permanently dismantle the missile engine test site and launch platform in Dongchang-ri under observation of the international community as a first step in order to expedite progress in denuclearization. Furthermore, he expressed his firm willingness to continue to take additional denuclearization measures, including the permanent dismantlement of nuclear facilities in Yongbyon, as the United States takes corresponding measures in the spirit of the Sentosa Agreement. The Korean Peninsula has remained under the armistice over the past 65 years. Ending the Korean War is an urgent task. It's a process that we must go through in order to move towards a peace regime. I look forward to seeing bold measures for denuclearization implemented among the related countries, leading to the declaration to end the war. Regardless of the challenges that lie ahead, the leaders of the South, North, and the United States will move step by step towards peace based on mutual trust. Such a dramatic change has been possible thanks to the support and encouragement of the people around the world who desire peace. In particular, the United Nations gave North Korea the courage to embark on the road to peace. I'd like to express my gratitude to the United Nations for its role. However, this is just the beginning. I'd like to ask for continued support and cooperation from the member states on our journey towards a complete denuclearization and permanent peace. The Republic of Korea will spare no effort to encourage North Korea's participation in the international community while adhering to the resolutions adopted by the United Nations. Madam President, last winter, a prelude to peace on the Korean Peninsula unfolded in Pyeongchang in Gangwon Province. It was the moment when the Olympic Truce Resolution adopted at the UN General Assembly in November 2017 came to precious fruition. Secretary General Guterres and many heads of state extended their congratulations on the participation of North Korean athletes and officials in the Pyeongchang Olympic Winter Games. They expressed their wishes for unity and peace on the Korean Peninsula. The world was awakened to the sense of new history of peace being written. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the IOC President Thomas Bach for his leadership and contribution in opening the way for North Korea to participate in the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. Just over a month after the close of the Pyeongchang Paralympic Winter Games, Chairman Kim and I met for the first time in Panmunjom. The United Nations welcomed and actively supported the adoption of the Panmunjom Declaration. By doing so, it provided tremendous strength and force to the meetings that followed, including the second Inter-Korea Summit, the U.S.-North Korea Summit, and the recent Inter-Korean Summit in Pyongyang. At the 72nd session of the UN General Assembly, I expressed the hope that North Korea will choose peace on its own accord and in order to establish a sound and sustainable peace. This hope was shared by the United Nations and all of the international community. North Korea responded positively to our hopes and calls. Chairman Kim changed the direction of the political situation on the Korean Peninsula through his New Year's address on the first day of this year. The participation of North Korea's athletes and the delegation in the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics provided a decisive momentum to break the impasse in building peace. On April 20th, North Korea officially ended its policy of nuclear development and has since devoted all of its efforts towards economic development. On September 9th, in the ceremony marking the 70th anniversary of its foundation, North Korea expressed its commitment to peace and prosperity instead of boasting its nuclear capabilities. North Korea moved out of long-standing isolation on its own initiative and stands before the international community once again. Now it is the international community's turn to respond positively to North Korea's new choices and efforts. We must assure Chairman Kim that he has made the right decision in committing to denuclearization. We must encourage North Korea to stay on the path that leads to permanent and solid peace.
The role of the United Nations is crucial. The United Nations Secretariat has continued its efforts for dialogue and engagement, including the invitation of North Korean officials to international conferences. The United Nations has stated its commitment to leave no one behind. My sincere hope is that the UN's vision of sustainable development will be realized on the Korean Peninsula. I have no doubt that if the international community paves the way, North Korea will not stall on making strides toward peace and prosperity. The Republic of Korea will spare no efforts to guide North Korea towards that path. I would like to call on the UN to share its experience and wisdom. Madam President, the process of working towards denuclearization and establishing peace on the Korean Peninsula is a process that also leads to building peace and cooperation in Northeast Asia. Northeast Asia is home to 1/5 of the world's population, and it accounts for 1/4 of the global economy. However, regional conflicts stand in the way of pursuing broader cooperation. will begin the work of resolving conflicts in Northeast Asia, starting from the Korean Peninsula. On August 15th, I proposed the creation of an East Asian Railroad community which would involve 6 Northeast Asian countries and the United States. The European Coal and Steel Community, which gave birth to the creation of the European Union, is a living example of what this kind of initiative could achieve. I believe that the East Asian Railroad Community will be able to serve as a starting point for the creation of an energy and economic community in East Asia, and going a step further, lead to multilateral peace and security architecture in Northeast Asia. The two Koreas are working to reconnect railroads and roads that has been disconnected. Going forward, the Republic of Korea will be engaging in close consultation with countries in the regions on concrete steps toward the East Asian Railroad Community, as we work to realize the UN spirit of multilateralism and pave the way for a future of shared prosperity. I would like to ask for support and cooperation of the international community. Madam President, the Republic of Korea, together with the UN, has weathered the storms of the modern history. The UN and Republic of Korea share common values and philosophies. This month, the government of Republic of Korea announced its visions of an inclusive nation based on a people-centered governing philosophy. We are moving towards a fair and just nation, as well as a society in which no one is discriminated against and everyone lives in harmony. Inclusiveness is also a philosophy embedded in international development cooperation. The government of Republic of Korea will steadily expand its contribution to development cooperation to create a global community that leaves no one behind. The Republic of Korea is also increasing its assistance to people who are suffering from human rights violation and discrimination, particularly the most vulnerable groups, including children, youth, women, and those with disabilities. We increased our financial aid for refugees 5 times in the past 5 years. Starting from this year, Korea is providing 50,000 tons of rice every year to developing countries that are suffering from a severe food crisis. I believe that there needs to be a holistic approach encompassing peace, development, and human rights to fundamentally resolve humanitarian crisis. The government of Republic of Korea will engage in discussions and provide support to make the UN relevant to all people. This year marks the 70th anniversary of the adoption of the Universal Declarations of Human Rights. Anyone who has confronted the abuse of power to advance human rights carries in his or her heart the first clause of the Declaration: all human beings are born free and equal. In particular, I am working to realize gender equality in tangible ways as an important part of our administrative agendas. All forms of discrimination and violence against women are being dealt with even more sternly. Korea has a direct experience of suffering from the Japanese military's mobilizations of comfort women. We will actively participate in discussions among the international community over women, peace, and security. We'll also work together with the international community on the efforts to eradicate sexual violence in conflict. Responding to climate change and transitioning to a low-carbon economy are challenges and tasks facing our generation. The government of Republic of Korea will raise its share of renewable energy in the nation's total power generation to 20% by 2030. Will faithfully implement the goal of reducing greenhouse gas emission by 2030 in compliance with Paris Agreement, and assist developing countries' pursuit of sustainable development by supporting them with climate change response. Madam President, Secretary General, and distinguished delegates, for two Koreas, the significance of UN goes beyond any international organizations. At the 46th UN General Assembly on September 17, 1991, all of its 159 member states unanimously adopted the resolutions for joint accessions by South and North Korea to the UN. That day was coincidentally World Peace Day. The representative of South and North Korea pledged in their respective speeches that although South and North Korea started a separate member, they would eventually become one someday through reconciliation, cooperation, and peace. Now, after 27 years have passed, South and North Korea are realizing the pledge made on that day. We have crossed the barriers of divisions and are tearing down the walls in our heart. We are proving to the international community that when we come together, we have sufficient means to establish peace. Ladies and gentlemen, we all desire peace. Peace represents the relatives and neighbors we love and the hometown that we long for. Peace means sharing what we have together. A peace we have all achieved together is a peace for all. I am confident that all of you will always be with us on the path to permanent peace and denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula, as well as on the journey to the peaceful world. Thank you.
باسم الجمعيه العامه أود أن أشكر صاحب الفخامة.
On behalf of the General Assembly, I would like to thank His Excellency for his statement. May I request representatives to remain seated while we greet the head of state? Thank you.